Hello and welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esme,
And I'm Nell.
and today we are going to be talking about Anastasia,
I
our,
love Anastasia.
our first princess musical, because it's not Disney, as I've been told many times this week.
It's not. Anastasia is not a Disney princess.
Not a Disney princess. If I did say it was a Disney princess publicly, I'd have Toby at my door.
Name drop.
Name drop
We've
Toby.
definitely said Toby's name before.
Well, yeah, when we were doing our last Disney show, because I had a ton of questions for him about like how Disney theatrical works, because it overlapped with like The Little Mermaid, and
I
you
think it
know,
was when we were talking about Sierra Baguette.
anytime we mentioned Sierra Borghetti,
Undoubtedly, Toby's name has come up.
well, no, because when we did Phantom, he was like, you have to talk about how good Sierra is, like as a person, and I was like, okay, Toby.
Oh, my friend, I forced my friend to listen to part of the Sierra Baguette recording. I
Yeah.
was really wishing we were just showing each other musical songs that we liked.
Oh, that's
And
so cute.
we have such cute friendships. But he was like, I hate this girl's with brass tug. And I was like, you cannot. That's Sierra Baguette. You cannot say that.
Did you think Toby was gonna appear and start fighting?
I was genuinely like, you cannot say that. Do not say that. They'll hear you.
They, Toby.
I love Sierra Baguette as well. I think she's great.
I think this is so off topic, but I was thinking about it this week. I think that there's just some musicals that just sound better when you listen to the live version.
Yeah.
Phantom is one, Les Mis is one, and I'd say like Miss Saigon is one.
The thing with Phantom is maybe it's not so much the live version as it's listening to not Sarah Brightman. I love Sarah Brightman, by the way. I think I really love her version of it.
But no, like stuff like Point of No Return is so much more elevated.
Oh yeah. Speaking of recordings.
Oh yeah, no guys, we just don't have that much news this week, so we're like
yeah, nothing has happened.
Nothing is happening.
We have
it's
like
still
2 pieces.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Oh, there was the Macy's parade thing.
Oh yeah.
The backlash.
The backlash to the Macy's Day Parade, which is ridiculous. Like it's
two non-binary performers.
How dare they exist in public?
Too much.
Oh no. The children. Who cares?
But the thing is, like I think I said that. I don't know if I said this last week. But
you did, but I'm not gonna lie. Editing down Great Comet.
Yeah, we chat a lot.
It was originally like 2.5 hours. So there is a 2.5 hour cut of Great Comet out there. It is now like 1 hour 55 because the news broke as we were recording.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know that much about either musical. It was like Shucked and
it was Shucked and Juliet. I've seen Anne Juliet. Don't ask me about the plot.
Don't ask me about Anne Juliet.
Yeah.
I hating like really liked musicals because everywhere I go I'm bombarded with movies. I fucking love Anne Juliet and Operation Mincemeat. Well, I don't know that much about either show, but apart from Anne, I'm not sure if Shucked like the character is non-binary.
So, I can't remember about Anne Juliet. I've seen Anne Juliet, and I think
I know for a fact there's a non-binary character.
Oh, they are non-binary because they sing "Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman," which I think is actually like a clever use of the song. Sometimes they just sing songs for the sake of like having the song in. But like this was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense this character to be singing this Britney Spears song. But I think in Shucked I've seen, because I've listened to a bit of Shucked. I think in Shucked it's just like never explained. And that's just the way the character is, which is like cool or whatever. Like, who actually cares?
Yeah, but yeah, people are like boycott the Macy's parade. They're woke. They're woke. Who cares, man? Grow up.
One's a musical. One, yeah.
It's a musical about corn. Grow up.
It's a musical about corn, and then like Romeo and Juliet fanfic.
One of the musicals was about corn. The other one was the worst adaptation of Romeo and Juliet ever made.
Yeah, there's more to be annoyed at.
There are other things to be angry about.
Yeah. And like, as I said, that was one of the better moments in Anne Juliet. So you're depriving it of like its actual good moment. Yeah. And Anne Juliet really needs the win.
No, it doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't.
Like, as a story, it needs a good moment.
I'd rather the thing is, if you let it have good moments, people start defending it. And God forbid I see people defending Anne Juliet. Anyways, the other piece of news, I'm also very passionate about.
On to our next thing we hate.
Merrily we roll along.
Oh, no. I thought we were doing mincemeat. Continuing the hater
Ties
train.
into mincemeat.
Okay.
We have a few pieces of news, apparently.
We have more than we thought.
Merrily we roll along on Broadway is charging $899 for a seat, which is ridiculous.
I knew
In
it
case
was
I had to tell you.
expensive. But like, that's a mind-boggling amount of money. That's more like I can't even put into words how much money that is.
Like, I have seen expensive theatre seats. In case you don't know, I love Phantom.
In case you couldn't
The
tell.
Phantom seats get expensive.
Yeah.
Like, there are prime seats, which are the ones directly under the chandelier.
Mm.
And they get up to like 200 quid sometimes, which is a lot.
Yeah, no, like I know that there are some
It's
packages
manageable.
for stuff like
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge and the big long running shows that charge up to 250, but they are packages. And I still think
Yeah.
that they're insane.
It's like the thing, £200. This is in pounds. I don't know
Yeah.
that's probably like fucking $500.
I feel like that's like $300.
But that's still a bit
That's
ridiculous.
like $250.
But like I could scrounge up to I could scrounge up that amount of money if I really wanted these seats.
If I had
And
the
if
money,
I had a ton of disposable income, I might buy those seats for the experience.
yeah.
That's manageable. $900 for a seat.
Mm-hmm.
The people who can pay that will get a box.
Yeah. The people who can pay that we can probably like rent out the theatre.
They'll rent out the theatre. Because here's the thing. They say it's like $900 per seat. But the thing is, very few people go to the theatre alone.
Yes, yeah.
So actually, it's more like $2,000 because you have to go with at least one other person.
Mm-hmm.
And then you buy drinks, which are like $50 there. I know that from Beetlejuice.
You get to keep the cup though.
Is the cup worth $50?
I still have my cups,
So
but
I feel
I keep every single little thing from shows.
Yeah.
No, it's
I don't know.
insane. Pricing is shit.
And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, the West End doesn't have this problem. We definitely do. Just to a lesser extent. Like I was saying, Phantom has some very expensive seats, but I still feel like they're manageable. Les Mis has some very expensive seats.
Moulin Rouge.
Cabaret is so expensive.
Cabaret.
We can never go and see Cabaret. The other show has horrific pricing for its seats.
I think I've worked out how they're able to do that.
I don't care how they're able to do it. I just think they shouldn't be able to.
No, I think they shouldn't be able to, but like, I hate it. It goes against everything I stand for. Operation
Mincemeat has straight pricing. The seats in the front row have the exact same price as the seats at the very back of the balcony.
What I would do to have recorded when we figured that out, like how the pricing works. But that's why it's so cheap.
Fucking ridiculous. Sorry, we're just complaining about Operation Mincemeat again. But
anyway, come back on the 18th if you want to hear more thoughts.
We are going to bitch about Operation Mincemeat.
Operation Mincemeat bitch fest commence.
Oh, but they're putting on a plaque, which is
so
nice.
We will get more into that on the 18th because it goes into one of my main critiques of the show, which is that just nothing is thought through.
Everything is open-ended, nothing is thought through, and they start like plot lines and then never finish them.
They like somewhere deep. It's we talked about it so much. It's kind of like a worse version of Bake Off.
Yeah,
because with Bake Off, like there is still that same issue of it's not been developed, but with Mincemeat, it's just like they're throwing a ton of shit at you and none of it gets developed.
Yeah, they're putting up a plaque for Hester Leggett.
Yes,
who is one of the characters that all the characters are real people, but they're putting up a plaque for her because she never got remembered.
Nope. And the show didn't even do enough research on her, so the fans did, and that's why they're putting up the plaque.
I feel like the fans also raised the money, but I might be making that up.
The fans badgered MI5 until they released.
Dear Lord.
They also their posters got kicked out of the underground.
I actually had to block them.
Too.
I like genuinely had to block them because I was so tired of their account coming up.
I search their account whenever I'm bored and like just need something to go, what the fuck? Also, a national holiday is fast approaching. We won't know when it is until the day, but
oh my god.
Spotify Wrapped is fast approaching.
I've already come to terms with it that Andrew Lloyd Webber is going to be my number one artist. Oh my
Yeah.
God, the Musicals Week list has been revealed.
The what?
Strictly Come Dancing's Musicals Week
Oh, I
has also
saw
been
that.
revealed.
Yeah, so Spotify Wrapped's coming out. Get excited. It might be out by the time this episode's out. Also, over on our Instagram, there is a month in like review if you want to know what we're doing for the rest of the month. It will be on there with some fun little graphics. Yeah.
So I'm reading Andrew Lloyd Webber
Oh God, what's he done?
was speaking at the Global Investment Summit at Hampton Court Palace on the 27th of November.
He's doing anything but writing a musical, and I think we should be
He
thankful.
called theatre on Broadway a vanity project.
So his entire career has been a vanity project.
No. Okay. Andrew
Sorry,
Lloyd Webber has run
we actually haven't
theatre on
talked about
Broadway.
Andy in a while.
I know, so I have to get this out there.
Yeah, no.
Andrew Lloyd Webber has branded theatre on Broadway as a vanity project. Speaking at the Global Investment Summit at Hampton Court Palace yesterday, the 27th of November, the composer called on investors to think of Britain first when putting money into theatre. According to Click Here, Lloyd Webber stated, "Statistic I got last week from London is that for every pound that it generates in the theatre, it generates £1.40 in the local economy. Theatre is, in my view, in the UK, an incredibly exciting and good investment."
Mm-hmm.
To put a musical on Broadway now would cost roughly $20 million. Fair.
That is actually true, yeah.
But continued. I passionately ask for two things: that theatre is supported by government a little more than perhaps it is at the moment. And I passionately ask of you, if you're thinking of investing, to think of Britain first and think of our theatre. Icon.
That's actually
If
like
there's one thing about Andy, he's gonna fight for theatre.
there's one thing about Andy, he's gonna know how much it generates for the economy.
Anywho,
Anastasia time. It has music and lyrics by Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty, who worked together on musicals like Ragtime and Once Upon This Island, and a book by Terrence McNally, who's like was a massive deal. He did like serious plays. He was considered one of the greatest playwrights of the 20th century of modern times. It is from the playbill. It says it is inspired by the 1997 20th Century Fox film.
It's very different.
So, on that note, let's read out a synopsis from it. Now, take it away.
The evil wizard Rasputin, played by Christopher Lloyd, puts a hex on the royal Romanovs, and young Anastasia, Meg Ryan, disappears when their palace is overrun. Years later, the Grand Duchess, Angela Lansbury, offers a reward for Anastasia's return. Two scheming Russians, John Cusack,
I believe.
Cusack, and Kelsey Grammer, planning to pawn off a phony, hold auditions, and choose an orphan girl with a remarkable resemblance to the missing princess. They bring her to Paris for the reward, not knowing she's the real Anastasia. Spoil the plot of the movie, I guess. A part of that is kind of a big reveal.
Yeah, because she goes by Anya. Anya for most of the musical. Oh
but
no,
she also
movie.
does
I've not seen the movie.
She goes by Anya in the movie too.
Yeah, I seem so. So it would be produced and released in 1997, specifically to challenge Disney's world domination with animation, because it was currently having what's known as the Disney Renaissance, with Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and some others. Toby's gonna kill me.
90s.
Yeah. I think it was starting to slow down by this point with stuff like Hercules and stuff like that. Because 2D animation was really like in its last phase of being used, because technology was slowly starting to evolve past it.
I'm gonna see. 1989 to 1999. Little Mermaid, The Rescuers, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, Tarzan.
Pretty iconic lineup of shows. Worldwide it would gross $140 million.
Which does seem to be challenging Disney's animation domination.
It did its job.
And it is a great film. If you haven't watched it, Esme, you should go and watch the Anastasia film. It's really good.
I feel like I'll get to it when we get to my thoughts. It would have songs written by Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty, with the biggest hit of the movie being Once Upon a December, which was the second song sung overall. They would write 6 overall.
What a song.
It is an amazing song.
That and like Journey to the Past, I've definitely used as audition songs more than I should. But they're such lovely songs.
No, is it Journey? No, Journey to the Past is the second song. Sorry, I wrote that down wrong.
In the movie?
Yeah, it's the second song.
I feel like that might not be true.
Because it's her walking from the orphanage to the...
Yeah, and then Once Upon a December is the third song.
It's the third song. Yeah, sorry, I got that wrong.
In the musical, it's really weird because Journey to the Past comes up like halfway through Act 1.
Journey to the Past is the Act 1 closer. And then Back to December is like halfway through Act 1. We'll talk about why they made that change.
Once Upon a... Did you say Back to December? Once Upon a December.
Okay.
It's like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of the... Actually, no, it's not.
No, it's
I
not.
feel like I always forget. In my head, I always mix up like the movie and the musical timeline.
Yeah, because they also
In My Dreams
different.
is also a beautiful song.
I mean, like I have quotes about why they changed it.
I feel like maybe for me, because I just love the movie, I feel like the movie works better.
Interesting.
But I feel like that's just because it's like for kids and it's very straightforward.
Yeah, like it's a completely different medium. There is a like Rasputin comes back from the dead.
It's like they can do a lot more with Once Upon a December when they animate it than they can live action.
And like Journey to the Past
on stage.
Journey to the Past serves such a different function in the movie than it does in the musical.
Yeah.
The singing parts of the movie would be done by Liz Calloway compared to Meg Ryan, who did the speaking parts. The song has gone on to be like a quintessential leading lady song with so many people like singing it for auditions, singing it for stuff, and like Liz Calloway did an interview where she basically said,
"Who would ever sing
Who would
Journey
ever
to the
sing
Past for an audition?"
No,
that's so strange. that's so basic.
Liz Calloway basically saying, I've sung it all over the world. Like every time I do a big concert, that I have to sing this song. It's become such a big.
It's a great song.
It would be not Journey to the Past would be nominated for Best Original Score and Best Original.
Can a single song win Best Original Score?
I don't know. It's from the 90s, so it's probably changed.
Oh, no, I do. It's a crazy time.
But it didn't win because it lost. Do you know what it lost to?
Do I want to know?
My Heart Will Go On from Titanic.
Honestly, also a great song. I'm
like
not gonna diss My Heart Will Go On.
Not give it to My Heart Will Go On.
Yeah, but you cannot give it to Phantom. I'm still on this shit. Phantom should have won. However,
it's been like 5 weeks.
This is my second Phantom. Anastasia's Journey to the Past should have won over Titanic's My Heart Will Go On.
Okay. And it would also be nominated for Best Original and Comedy Score at the Oscars. So
that's the end of the episode.
Bye. I've got a coach to catch. I'm not joking. I genuinely have a coach to catch later.
I have a lecture this evening.
I've already had my classes for the day. It's been fun. So the development would happen when a Russian producer approached Ahrens and Flaherty 4 years before like the first product before it got to Hartford, I believe this was that. Yeah. About adapting the animated film to stage. They immediately thought of McNally. Though the Russian production never came to fruition, it got the ball rolling and the team collaborated with McNally on Ragtime and a chamber musical A Man of No Importance. They thought Anastasia would be a cross between the two.
I guess.
I'm not sure.
In some senses.
Like, sure, Ragtime? Yeah? It's
like in terms of style, I get that, but that's just because it's all written by the same people.
It's style, it's like style, it's more in Ragtime has because the reference Ragtime is like in reference to ragtime music, which is like very jazz inspired.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can guess in like the epic kind of way because Anastasia has a lot more characters than you think.
Yeah, there are a lot. And
Ragtime has a shit ton of characters. Lynn Ahrens would say the first thing we wanted to do was write an original score. We wanted to take some of the songs that we loved, that we wrote back then, and put them on stage, but in a new way, reposition them, rewrite them in some way. We wanted to approach the show from a different musical vantage point, more sophisticated, a little more far-reaching, more political.
It does do that.
Yeah,
I would say
it's definitely more historically accurate, which was
which we'll get into.
Remember what we said last week about us knowing far too much about Russian history? This is the part we know far too much about.
Yeah, the movie is very apolitical.
Yeah, with Stephen Flaherty saying, I remember the day clearly when we were in Bonpan in New York City when we were working on the film.
That's not even what it says. Or Bonpan.
On Bonpan.
The good bread.
Is that what it means?
Yeah. The good bread.
I think it was like some coffee shop then. In New York City. Yeah. And we were working on the film and someone throws the notion, what if Rasputin rises from the dead and is accompanied by an albino bat? And that's and that's the moment you realise, oh, it's gonna be that. It's going to move over that way. It's out of the blue. Once you're hired, but you've been hired, working in Hollywood, doing the best you can to write a beautiful score, not having complete control over your destiny. So we wanted to use the film and the Legend of Anastasia as a jumping off point. But it's really an original musical telling with more history. Terrence McNally came aboard, which was thrilling, because I didn't think he'd be interested in doing the film and putting it up on stage. In July of 2012, it would be announced that there'll be a reading of Anastasia, with it being specifically based on the Fox movie, with them saying it would feature 5 songs from the movie, because I think that there was a song that was just cut, didn't make it over to the musical, right?
I have a feeling that's true, but I would have to check which song it was.
Because I remember seeing a song in my research and I was like, that's not in a musical. That's not. It's probably Zombie Rasputin.
Likely. Gleb. Sorry, spoilers. Rasputin gets turned into Gleb.
Not in this version.
But eventually he does.
Eventually
Gleb
he
gets some
becomes
really
Gleb.
good songs.
Oh, and they just wrote them because they had Ramin. Not convinced it.
Oh, there's In the Dark of the Night.
Yeah, that's that. That's what it's called.
It is just Rasputin song.
Yeah, so if you can't zombie Rasputin, you can't have.
Why is this ridiculous? So Anya, beware, Rasputin's away.
The cast for this reading was Kelly Barrett in the title role of Anya, Patrick Page as the villain role called Vladimir.
Yeah, slightly more political, I would say.
Yeah. Angela Lansbury reprised her role as Empress Maria. Aaron Tveit would be Dmitri.
Jesus Christ.
Aaron Lazar would be Gleb. So Gleb was a character, but so was Vladimir.
I feel like Gleb, here's my feeling. Either Gleb was the same character, like the same story of what his character is in the final production. Yeah. But just in a lesser role. Because his character works very well as just kind of a random role. Yeah. Or maybe he was Dimitri's friend. I can't remember his name. Vlad. Yeah. Yeah, because like Vlad is short for Vladimir. Maybe they just switched around the names. It's just a Russian name and has no political ties. No political ties. And Ben Crawford would also be there. What was he doing there? He was just in the ensemble, but we love Ben Crawford. I was reading it, I was like, but wait, I recognise that name. Ben Crawford? What are you doing here, my man? For a moment I thought it was Michael Crawford, and I was like, no, that's definitely not right, it's Ben Crawford. There would be another workshop in June of 2015 when the character Gleb would be the villain, and Vladimir would probably just be Vlad as we know him today. Around this time it would be announced that it would play Hartford, with Draco Trezenyak, with him directing the show. He had just won the Tony for Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. He said about the development of the show from a movie to a musical, we've kept, I think, 6 songs from the movie, but there are 16 new numbers. We've kept the best parts of the animated movie, but really it's a new musical, which it is. Yeah. Like, it's really just taking these characters and this, like, not even these characters, because as we said, zombie Rasputin is no more. But it follows the same plot of there is a girl who wants to escape Russia. There are 2 men who want to get some money by leaving Russia and pretending someone is the lost princess Anastasia. Yeah. And then it's actually Anastasia. That's kind of the basic plot. And then
Yeah.
there's a guy trying to stop them.
Yeah.
They've basically just done that, but with different characters.
He said, one of the best moments was that I talked about how the show takes place in St. Petersburg and Paris, and bridges figure so prominently in the story of those two cities. Lynn was like, and showed up the next morning with a song called Crossing a Bridge. She heard what I said, and I didn't even know what she was going to do, but she came up with the song and the lyrics. It's great to be a part of that. Although casting had been announced for the upcoming production, Tristan Jack said, we're pretty much done with casting. About auditions, he observed, what's interesting is a generation of young women grow up singing these songs, especially the Academy Award nominated Journey to the Past. So it's a bit like auditioning for the Scarlett O'Hara. They would come in and couldn't control their voices. They were so emotional that they got to sing it in front of the authors, which, like, people love Journey to the Past.
It's such a good song.
There
I'll
was
defend Journey to the Past.
No, I mean, it's an amazing song. There was a interview by Lynn Ahrens. I'm not sure if I've included it in here, but apparently when the first preview happened and the first notes of Journey to the Past started, there was like a of the audience, because obviously they rearranged the plot so much so you couldn't be sure that like it was gonna happen.
Imagine if they just didn't have Journey to the Past.
They couldn't pay like Fox enough money to include it.
Yeah, they just scrapped it.
It's being like Frozen without Let It Go though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could come up with something else. They have Monster.
In the same way that they have like In My Dreams.
Yeah. I think I'm saying they can keep Once Upon a December.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say Back to December.
I know you do.
It keeps like being on the tip of my tongue. It would play Hartford between the 12th of May and the 16th of June 2016. Reviews of the Hartford Run, Broadway World would say a distinguished creative team has a big hit in their rousing, heartwarming version of Anastasia, premiering currently at the Hartford Stage Company. Visually spectacular, beautiful sung, accompanied story untrolls seamlessly against the backdrop of 20th century European history, elegantly presented. The show has appeal for the romantics and history buffs and melody fans and dance aficionados and musical comforts. Oh, and the musical has no fewer than four strong female figures that audiences identify with. It is short of a potential blockbusters for all kinds of worthy reasons. That's very interesting because, as I said, there are a lot more characters than you would think, and a lot of them are female. I never really thought about that. I was like, that's very interesting. But
it's a very good show.
That's all you're going to say. So it's a very good show.
I love this show.
And then Variety would say his first new musical since winning a Tony for A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. Director Draco Trezeniak and librettist Terence McNally have crafted a show that embraces the power of myth, celebrates the resilience of survivors, and touches on the meaning of identity and home. All manner for the musical stage. Source material includes the 1956 film and the animated 1997 film with a tuneful score by Stephen Flaherty and Lynn Ahrens. The missteps are minor, with the show about identity ties, and largely succeeds to find itself and a happily ever after of its own. So yeah, the movie is based on that film. So the first movie is based on the 1956 film, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the musical is in turn kind of based on the original film as well.
I think there was a play.
Yes.
And then there was the 1956 film. And then there was the 1997 animated film. And then there was the musical.
Like, I don't know, I could be completely wrong with this, but in the same way that Andy watched the first Phantom movies when developing Phantom.
Yeah.
Would it be like kind of the same? Like directly?
Yeah, I would say. Because there's a lot of things that you adapt from like all the source materials, not just one.
Yeah.
But all of them are slightly different.
Yeah. It would start performances on Broadway on the 23rd of March 2018, with the opening date being set for the 24th of April 2016 after 34 previews, with the cast being Christy Altamore as Anya, Derek Clever as Dimitri, John Bolton as Vlad, Caroline O'Connor as Lily, Ramin Kirimalu as Gleb, Mary Beth Peel as the Emperor, as Dowager Empress Maria Vandova? Vandorova?
Do you just copy and paste that bit?
Yeah.
Her name.
Yeah. They never say her full name, I don't think. Or if they do, it's like right at the beginning.
Hold on.
And then I think they just call her like the
Who's
Dowager.
the Dowager Empress?
Yeah, because that's her official title.
I forget there's a young Anastasia.
Yeah, she's a very important. Then there's a young Anastasia, and then there's a middle Anastasia.
Yeah. Very strapped. They say her royal grandmama.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, so if she's like referenced, it's just kind of like the royal.
But there is a point where she's like announced.
Is it during the ballet?
Maybe. I feel like she's not announced at the ballet.
Or is it because they don't? Do they meet? They meet.
No, the ballet is very first person.
Yeah.
Press conference. I feel like if I was at a press conference, I'd say their full title.
Yeah, especially if you were the queen being announced at a press conference.
I am the Countess Lily Malevsky-Malevic, and this is Count Vladimir Pov.
Oh yeah, because he scams his way into being a count. Well, he was allegedly
scam. He marries rich.
No, he was like living the countess life under imperialism.
Yeah. My God, they never say her title.
No, I don't think they did.
I know they probably say it like in the script. So.
Yeah, within like the libretto.
Yeah.
Reviews for this are interesting. People were kind of mixed on it. They were just a bit like, yeah, it's okay. With the New York Times headline reading, "A princess brackets maybe with an identity crisis." Pretty good headline. New York Times have been kind of killing it with the headlines. Like, this review is entertaining to read. The reviews for this were entertaining to read in a way like reviews rarely are. Ben Brantley really popped off with this one. Amnesiac title character Anastasia, who may or may not be the long lost daughter of the last Russian Tsar, isn't long suffering a serious identity crisis in the postcard scenic show that bears her name, which opened Monday night at the Broadway Theatre, has his own troubling case of multiple personality disorder. Anastasia, which features a book by the acclaimed playwright McAnally and the songs by the Tony-winning team Stephen Flaherty and Lynn Ahrens, shifts between the worldviews of both inspirations whilst pretending there is no disconnect. In the process, it evokes another kind of show altogether. I mean, those 20th century musicals, that must have sounded like a good idea at the time, but tend to be remembered today, but only by hardcore aficionados of the journey. They are frothy but earnest shows set in distant... Huh?
The genre.
Genre, sorry.
Funny.
They are frothy but earnest shows set in distant times and foreign lands with titles like Martyr Harry and Pleasures and Places. Such shows have a hard time squeezing their epic-sized selves into corsets of book musical adaptations. They usually died young. I don't see a similar fate for Anastasia. Anastasia may tap into the dewy-eyed demographic that makes Wicked such an indestructible, favourable for female adolescents. Those with such nostalgic installation are likely to find this a chore. It has remained among other things that it is a reminder among other things that bloody periods of history, like the Russian Revolution, do not naturally lend themselves to perky song and dance. And then they bring up examples like Les Mis and Miss Saigon as being musicals about like bloody periods of history, but like being very depressing, so they can get away with it. Yeah. I feel like that was a very interesting review from the New York Times for once. Yeah. I'll be interested to talk more about that in thought. Time Out gave it 4 stars, saying director Draco Trzewiak keeps the story swelling forward with help from Linda Cho's scrumptious costumes and Aaron Rhymes' crisp projections. The appealing central couple gets strong support from a cast that includes Ramin Karimalu as a Javert-like Soviet officer and a delightful comic relief in a quite dark story. The superb Caroline O'Connor is singing excellent throughout. In a season crowded with new musicals, this one has maintained a modest profile, but now can the secret be told? Anastasia is the richest and fullest family show to hit Broadway in years. Who knew? Entertainment Weekly gave it B-. This reviewer spent most of the time talking about themselves.
Why?
And like, because they were a fan of Anastasia.
Okay, so was I.
The mix feels cohesive, but nothing trumps their original Journey to the Past. An eventual radio hit at the beginning is left out entirely. Anastasia is Flaherty's and Ahrens' third time collaborating with book writer Terrence McNally. Director Draco Trzewiak won the Tony for Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, caters to his young audience with healthy, but perhaps too healthfully, a dose of superfluous ensemble sequences, including Run Too Many Dream sequences and a tipsy dance at the Neva Club. Few thoughts ran through my disappointed mind as I chewed on my $8 peanut M&Ms. Am I too close to the subject matter? It is certainly possible. Anastasia was one of my favourite movies as a kid, and the soundtrack caused rent-level obsession for me. Or 20 years later, I am frankly too old to buy into this hokey princess stuff. Despite my momentarily existential crisis, I am reminded of the goosebumps I experienced only recently during the magical productions of Aladdin and Cinderella, which were Disney princess-esque as it comes. Compounding matters, my feelings about this Anastasia adaptation, which also draws inspirations from the Ingrid Bergman starring 1956 production, in addition to the 1997 animated film, I don't seem being shared with the crowd. The theatre that was filmed with what appeared to be at least two full classes of elementary school students who audibly oohed during the kissing scene. I even spotted one woman crying.
Well, first of all, why are you eating peanut M&Ms in a theatre? Sorry.
I thought it was a weird review.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, here's my existential crisis that I had at Anastasia the musical.
Guys, this musical about finding hope in the darkest times, when your whole family's dead and they're threatening to kill you too, and you don't even know if that was your family.
Yeah. You just appeared
it's
one
not
day.
As happy as Cinderella. I don't like it as much as Cinderella. They didn't transform a pumpkin into a carriage.
It's not as happy as Aladdin.
Yeah.
Guys, I was obsessed with it as much as I was obsessed with Rent, and I don't like it anymore, so it's bad.
On. So, I feel like in some ways it's a fair review.
Yeah.
Being like, everyone else liked it, I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And admitting being like, maybe it was because I love the movie so much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. However, it is also just kind of weird.
I think my issue with this is that if it was a personal blog or like a independent theatre reviewer, I'd be a bit more like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like that's a normal review. But for these publications where you're much more expected to remove yourself as the viewer.
Yeah, like you can mention like people who are massive fans of the 1997 animated film. You might be let down because it's not the same story as that, and it's not got the same like spectacle as that. Mm-hmm. That's a fun thing to say because it's true. Mm-hmm. But you can't be like, as I'm eating my $8 peanut M&Ms in a theatre. I don't like it as much anymore.
I don't like it.
Better.
I like the Disney musicals better because they didn't cause me to have an existential crisis.
Like, come on.
Which is fair enough, but I just, as I said, the reviews for this were entertaining to read. Was everyone just like, in the post-Hamilton years, was everyone just like slowly losing their minds?
Yeah. I think COVID hit and you stopped getting theatre reviews for like 2 years.
So they all had time to like go outside.
Yeah. like calm down.
They re-examined their allegiance to Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yep.
Time for synopsis.
Inspired by the beloved films, Anastasia transports audiences from the twilight of the Russian Empire to the euphoria of Paris in the 1920s, as a brave young woman sets out to discover the mystery of her past. Pursued by a ruthless Soviet officer determined to silence her, Anya enlists the aid of a dashing conman and a lovable ex-aristocrat. Together they embark on the epic adventure to help her find home, love, and family.
Good synopsis.
I like it. I like the home, love, and family because that's from Journey to the Past.
Yeah. And it's not like she is the princess.
Yeah.
And so it leaves the mystery of, what happens to her.
I do really like it because the spoilers for the end of the show.
Yeah.
I find the ending really weird. Like, I was shocked the first time I saw it.
Yeah, no, we've never watched it.
I've never watched a bootleg, and therefore I've never watched it because I was like 12 when it came out. I almost saw it though, like real talk. Really?
I actually almost saw it. It was either that or Frozen, and my dad wanted to go see Frozen.
This is bad as the reviewer.
Don't blame me, blame my dad. He's gonna listen to this.
I
Anastasia
have
had a,
nothing against your dad.
Anastasia had a longer rush line than Frozen did.
Okay.
Also, I
Spoilers for the end of it.
think if I took him to
Okay.
a musical that like really doesn't talk, that kind of has the Soviet Union going on, but like kind of ignores the reality of the Soviet Union, he would have lost his damn mind.
Yeah, I think it ignores the reality of the Soviet Union
I
that
don't think it
much.
ignores it. I just find the way that it talks about it so fascinating.
Like, I think Rumor in St. Petersburg is quite a good depiction.
Anyway,
Yeah,
do you wanna...
anyway, at the end,
Yeah.
she doesn't like announce herself as the Princess Anastasia.
No.
I think in that sense it's meant to be like, oh, maybe this is what actually happened. Like, this is a real story.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be, they say the Princess Anastasia never existed,
Mhm.
she died.
It was like maybe the royal Princess Anastasia is the friends
Well,
we
they say
made
something really
along,
specific in the finale.
and it's on the recording.
No, it's like, as of today, there will be no more Anastasias. The reward for her safe return will be given to charity. There never was an Anastasia. She was a dream, a beautiful dream, a dream only time will fade. So no more talk of the Grand Duchess Anastasia Romanov. The new order has no need for fairy tales. The case is closed, still. And then they sing Once Upon a December. But basically the plot is that she decides she wants to go and live with Dmitri,
Yeah.
not as a royal. So
Mm-mm.
her grandmother knows she's alive. She still goes and sees her grandmother, allegedly.
Yeah.
We don't get anything past that, but it's like she's meant to just have a normal life
Well, I think
and
like
not be
us
the Grand
not
Duchess.
seeing her meet her grandmother is more interesting because what would they actually like?
I'm pretty sure she does.
No, I have this very specific image in my head of her bowing when her grandmother walks in the room.
I'm checking this.
Again, never seen it, but my view might not have been that good.
No, they do meet.
Yeah, I thought they did actually. The second we
Back
said
in
it,
the
I was like,
hotel,
that's wrong.
Anya begins to pack, but she is interrupted by the Dowager Empress,
Yes.
who has come reluctantly to give her an opportunity. Anya is shocked by the Dowager Empress's cruelty, asserting that she isn't the Nana Anya remembered. And then she produces the music box, and she's like, "I am your granddaughter, and you're a bitch."
I couldn't imagine Christy Altamore swearing.
I would love her to swear.
Even though she's...
I'm gonna go rewatch the Anastasia vlogs.
No, I am a part about that actually, the Anastasia vlogs. Even though she was literally Venla in Spring Awakening, the first national tour.
Yeah.
So she definitely has sworn. I just couldn't imagine.
I just can't imagine it.
It just doesn't compute.
But I do like that ending more than the film, because the film is very magical. It's not a Disney film. However, it feels very Disney, where she becomes the princess and she lives happily ever after.
In Paris.
In Paris, after killing Rasputin again.
Oh, does she kill Rasputin?
I believe so. I might be misremembering that. But they chase through a maze and she kills Rasputin again.
Do you remember that history class where we just were meant to be doing revision about the Russian Revolution, and we just sat trying to work out exactly when Anastasia takes place?
Yeah,
because we were getting
1920s.
Yeah, it's 1927 to be exact, because it starts in 1907 when
you get the prologue.
The grandmother leaves, and then the prologue is all the way. So there's young Anastasia for the prologue, and then you have middle Anastasia when the Bolsheviks. No, when the Tsar's overthrown.
Which was the Bolsheviks?
Because the Bolsheviks didn't actually overthrow. The Bolsheviks didn't overthrow the Tsar alone, did they? It was with the Mensheviks.
Yeah, it was the Bolsheviks, the Mensheviks, the SRs.
Yeah, it was a coalition. Guys,
it's all coming back to me.
That's what I mean. It's gonna all start coming.
In February 1917.
Yeah,
the Bolsheviks, along with a coalition of other left-wing powers,
on International Women's Day during World War I,
started in a march by the women of Russia.
Yeah, guys.
Oh my god, it is all coming back. I love Anastasia.
Anastasia's so good.
Yeah.
And then
I like it more. It's more realistic.
No, it as one of them said, it definitely talks a lot more about the history of the show, about like the historical time period it's in, than probably a kids movie ever could. And
I do think Rumor of Petersburg is really good.
I like it, I don't know, like, 'cause whilst the official opening number is the prologue, the actual
Yeah.
here's the world that the show is going to take place in is rumor in St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
I like the way that this is such a small detail that I'm probably reading too much into. You know how they go from like singing to like stage whispering at moments?
Yeah.
That's because
In St. Petersburg.
that's probably because one of the terror campaigns is about to be launched.
I like, where is it? It's there's a great line in Ruben and St. Petersburg that I love. Some of the lines are so good. A brighter day is dawning, it's almost at hand. The skies are grey, the walls have ears, and he who argues disappears. Hail our brave new land. St. Petersburg is booming, a city on the rise. It's really very friendly if you don't mind spies. We stand behind our leaders and stand in line for bread. We're good and loyal comrades, and our favourite colour's red. That is such a good verse.
That is such a description of what life was probably like, because again, if you haven't spent about 5 years of your life studying 20th century Russia, first off, what's it like?
Please tell us.
Please, we don't know anything.
5 years of my life have just been about Russia.
You've been to Russia.
I've been to Russia.
Is that they were literally killing anyone who was like made any anti-Soviet joke, and one example of this is Bim Bom the clown.
I can picture the textbook.
Bim Bom the clown. He was a clown that the Soviets killed for making an anti-Soviet joke.
I feel like that review, I don't remember which one it was, but the review that was like, oh, history buffs and like just like princess fans will get a lot out of this. I thought that was really true. Because again, Rumor in St. Petersburg is so much fun for like a history buff.
And yeah,
like the bit at the end where they're all bartering.
I like how it does kind of address the historical period really early on.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't have to explain it.
I think it does very well the kind of like Paris holds the key to your heart. So well, that kind of the jump between, oh, this horrible Russia, everything is wrong in Russia, to Paris is beautiful and lovely. And it does kind of address that where it's like, this isn't entirely true.
But Paris, especially then, was kind of seen as like this haven of liberalism and freeness in a way Russia was so moving away from, because there was a couple of years, there was like 2 years, not even that, like a year of the Soviet rule, which was actually pretty liberal.
NEP.
NEP. Well, you have people like Alexandra Kollontai, who was the first woman to hold a proper position of government. Like, abortions were happening, people were doing whatever under communist rule without much restrictions. But one thing I will say is that it does really, one thing the musical does very well is talking about the themes of like home very, very well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Stay I Pray You. Oh my god, that song's amazing.
Sorry, I'm still looking at Rumor in St. Petersburg. The bit when they're like, it was a truck backfiring, comrade. That's all it was. Those days are over, neighbor against neighbor. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. You're shaking. There's a t-shirt just sets for him. Thank you. What's your hurry? I can't lose this job. They're not easy to come by, but thank you.
That also sets up Gleb's fascination with Anya. That's between Gleb and Anya.
It sets up that there is a history, because the reason that Anya gets scared by the truck backfiring is because she thinks it's a gun shop, which reminds her of the execution of her family.
Yes.
And the like takeover of the Bolsheviks, by the Bolsheviks of her like family home. But for everyone else, they also have the same reaction. And I think the movie doesn't really do that. It's just kind of, this poor young girl is so traumatized because her family was killed, and everyone else in Russia is fine.
Russia has had no inner political turmoil at all in the past 10 years.
Russia is a booming country. They
didn't have any companies. It was all state-owned. But no, Stay I Pray You is hilarious. Not hilarious, amazing, and very beautiful.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way I'd put it.
I really love the show. It's such... I am going to listen to it. Like, I was listening to it earlier this week to prep for this.
Yeah. So it was like, as you said to me, I could see you listening.
We have an app where we can see what each other are listening to, and occasionally I'll just see her listening to the musical we're about to record.
It's often when I'm
Like
like,
yesterday, I was listening to Anastasia. I was like, okay.
it's Anastasia tomorrow. Like,
So like, if I forget what song we're doing, I can just check real quick.
it's like when I get, and then sometimes they send us fun notifications like, you and Nell are twinning, and I'm like, God, no, it's never anything good. Over the spring, it's not over now yet from Parade. That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God, I
no,
love My Petersburg.
My Petersburg.
What
Oh,
a song.
Dimitri's songs are so good, man. Rumor in St. Petersburg,
Yeah.
My Petersburg, and then what's it called? Crowd of Thousands. I
Okay, do you want to know what my actual favorite song in Anastasia is?
what?
I think two.
Okay.
They're the trio songs.
Oh, like
So number one,
learn to do
so
it.
Learn to Do It,
Yeah.
and We'll Go From There.
Oh, I like We'll Go From There.
I specifically love the bit which is like what a lovely day, what a lovely ride.
Yeah.
What is it?
For a totally illegal getaway. Okay, my one issue with Anastasia
All right.
is at times I did feel like there were maybe too many songs.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot more songs than
And
probably there needs. I like the songs.
Mm.
It was just like when I was
The
listening
song,
to it
all of the
yesterday, I was
songs are
like,
great. Like, there's not like if you ask me right now, there is not a single song that I could point out and be like, get rid of that one. We don't
yeah.
need it because I
What
love all the songs. I think they're really good.
I was looking at
I
it,
think
like,
my problem with it is there are so many songs and they're all great, but most of the actual plot happens in dialogue that is not in the songs. The
yeah,
songs are just there.
yeah,
So like
and
all of the songs make sense. Like Journey to the Past, Once Upon a December, all explains. I was explaining this to someone else. I was like, the difference between a musical and a play with songs is that in a musical the songs are to do with the plot, which is how
yeah,
you get away with jukebox musicals.
and often they drive the plot forward.
Yeah, or they explain something like it's basically a soliloquy a lot of times. Like
Yeah,
Journey to the
monologue.
Past is just a soliloquy for Anya,
You don't have
but she has to sing it.
monologues.
And it's the same with like My Petersburg. My Petersburg could literally be a monologue.
Mhm.
If I just read it to you, it would be a monologue.
Yeah,
But they get to sing it.
and it's more fun
Whereas
that
a play
way.
with songs, which is why Footloose is not a musical. No,
Is
Dirty
it?
Dancing is not a
Yeah.
musical
Okay. Yeah.
because it's just the songs that are in the movie. So
Yeah.
I
I
just fell off
mean,
my shelf.
I'm looking at the songs now. I think probably what I love about some of the songs you pointed out, like "Learn to Do It" and "In a Crowd of
Yeah.
Thousands," is I love how they do the moments when Anya is like remembering her own memories,
Yeah.
especially in a crowd of thousands, because that's the moment where
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh my God, you are the Princess Anastasia."
And in
You're
Learn to Do It, I
afraid
was like, I don't think we told her that.
she just starts going like, and my dog was this, and my little brother, and it's like all of these
Yeah.
little details.
They say something and she's like, and I recall he had a cat.
I
Like,
don't
I
believe
don't
we
believe
told
we
her
told
that. One thing I did see when I was just reeling around Anastasia was the fact that it was compared to The Rain in Spain from My Fair Lady.
Mm.
And I might say, unpopular opinion here, I might like learn to do it a bit more.
Yeah.
I have actually seen My Fair Lady.
I've not, and I plan to keep it that way.
I don't understand the ending.
Yeah.
The set was sick.
I think okay. Oh, the thing I'm realizing is there are so many songs in this show, and if you told me I had to cut some, my go-to would be cutting some of Gleb's songs, and that's
That's
not because I think they're bad. It's just because they're the ones I listen to the least.
yeah.
So I don't have like Still is a great song, but I just don't listen to it as much as I listen to the other ones. What's the other
Do
one? The
no
Neighbor Flows?
do we need the Neva flows and then Still? That's what when I had the thought of there are too many songs in this musical was when I was listening to
But the
it
thing
and
is,
like
both of them are great songs.
that's the thing. I was like, both of them are great songs, but they are kind of saying the same thing.
There are too many of them.
I don't need any more descriptions about how Gleb's father killed the Romanov.
Come on.
Like that is a wild
Because it's like
detail. It's just kind of thrown in there.
you could so easily say, like, oh, in my dreams, because it was already just replacing Journey to the Past.
In My Dreams is such a good
But In
song.
My Dreams is such a good song.
And it sets out the character, the very like I don't think people understand like Anya's actually quite a complex character to play
Yeah.
because she has all these fragments of memories, and in my dreams is such a good way of conveying that right off the bat. You're
I
basically
think
told
all of the
everything you should know
characters,
about
especially the female characters, the male characters are really 2D. It's
her.
really funny.
Gleb is an
Like,
evil communist.
to be fair, Gleb is probably the most defensive character.
Yeah,
Because he's like,
actually.
he seems very evil, but at the end he's not very nice, but they like fix him.
At the end, he's like, if my father asked questions, then where would we be?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And
you know
they
what, Gleb?
basically like, I don't want to turn into my father. He's also in love with Anya, which I still
Yeah.
find really weird.
He's like in
I
love.
don't know why that
He's
is.
in love with her, but like he also hates the monarchy.
It's so strange.
And he like you can tell that they got really into developing the Gleb character though.
I think he's really like I feel like what they were trying to do was explore this is me doing what can source A and B tell us about Russia in this time period.
God, I
Well, I
hate
think they
those.
were really trying to explore like what the Russian psyche was like.
Yeah.
Because he's very much I love the Soviet Union. I love the regime,
The propaganda campaign has been in full swing for a solid 10 years at that point.
Yeah. And he's very much blatantly saying, like, I agree with this whole thing. But the
Gleb,
reality is he really doesn't.
Gleb loves Soviet realism.
Yeah. And then they do it in a very like princessy way, where he realizes that this isn't the life he wants because he falls in love with a girl.
Yeah, he falls in love with the Grand Duchess Anastasia. I like the fact that like even in the playbill she is like listed as Anya.
I feel like that's very important because they say this at the end. Again, I actually really like the ending. She never becomes Anastasia. Like her whole meeting with her grandmother, she never says, I am Anastasia. She says, I may have been Anastasia 20 years ago. But now I am Anya because I've gone through 20 years without anyone.
20 years of being very confused about who I am, where I am, and what's going on and why I can't remember anything.
And that's why they say Anastasia doesn't exist because she doesn't.
She doesn't. Yeah.
At least not anymore.
Yeah, no, and people around her say, you are Anastasia. She never says the words, I am Anastasia.
Yeah, I believe she really does in the movie. I think that's when she's killing Rasputin again. I am Princess Anastasia.
In Still the Neva Flows reprise, which is an amazing tune, she says, I am my father's daughter.
I want to look at the lyrics of that song because it is such a good song.
Finish it.
This is the thing. That's why we need both Still and the Neva Flows purely for the reprise.
The reprise is great. The Land of Yesterday is fun. Again, am I told that we need it? And they're like,
I will be with my parents and my brother and sisters in that cellar in Yekaterinburg. All over again. Ramin Karimloo, I love him so much.
Yeah, we're massive fans of him.
If there is a villain that needs playing, call him up.
If you want someone to be like a morally complex villain that you like kind of feel bad about when they meet their ends, call him.
Call him in.
Javert, Phantom, Gleb.
Yeah, he's great. Sorry, I'll stop going on about.
No, it's fine. It's an appropriate time for you to talk about him.
I love him so much. Like I think some of the what's her name? The Grand Duchess?
No, the Countess.
The Dowager.
So there's the Dowager and then there's the Countess.
No. It's the thing, again, a lot of the songs I would say are unnecessary actually aren't. I just don't care about them.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, all the Vlad and Lily songs I just don't really care about.
I prefer Land of Yesterday.
I think they're a great storyline.
If I could lose either Land of pick between Land of Yesterday and what's it called? Countess and the Common Man.
I don't think I have listened to the Countess and the Common Man in like a solid year. I don't think it's a bad. Like if I listened to it right now, I would enjoy it. I would love the song.
I'd be like, fun time.
But I just don't listen to it. I feel like you could cut everything to win.
Yeah, 100%.
But then I don't think you could cut everything to win reprise. So you kind of need everything to win.
I really like Anastasia's Anya's moments in Act 2. I really love crossing a bridge. In a crowd of thousands is also amazing. Quartet and the ballet.
You like it or you want to cut it?
No, I love it. It's amazing. It's pure
Such a good song.
drama. When they are all singing at the same time, different medleys, I'm like, I love this. The press conference is actually very important to the plot. You need to keep that.
Yeah, we can go through. You have to keep the prologue because it's not really a song and it sets up everything. You have to keep Ruins of Petersburg.
The prologue is more of an overture than anything.
Yeah, you have to keep In My Dreams. You have to keep Learn to Do It. You could cut The Neighbor Flows.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't. You have to keep My Petersburg.
Yeah.
You have to keep Once Upon a December.
Yes.
You have to keep Stay I Pray You.
Oh,
you couldn't cut Stay I
Pray You. The way that the choice to have a cappella and only have the music come in at the end is amazing.
You have to have We'll Go From There.
Yeah.
Again, this is my both The Neighbor Flows and Still are just my personal thing. You could cut them, but you shouldn't.
I like having Gleb as fleshed out as he is for historical reasons.
Guys, let's cut Journey to the Past. Let's just cut it.
Let's end Act 1 on Still.
Could you imagine? You have to have Paris Holds the Key.
It's a good act.
I hate that I say it, Paris Holds the Key, because it's always saying Paris Holds the Key.
Paris holds the... Well, we'd sound ridiculous if we were like, Paris holds the key to your heart.
You have to have Crossing a Bridge.
But
you
Crossing
have to
the
have
Bridge
Close the Door.
Closes the loop on something that's said in the very first song, where she's like, you'll come to Paris, we'll be friends, we'll hang out in Paris, because your grandfather has a bridge named after him now.
Yeah.
So that's a very important moment.
You have to have Crossing a Bridge. You have to have Close the Door.
Yeah.
Land of Yesterday.
What
happens in Land of Yesterday?
The way that Land of Yesterday is not very important. It's just talking about life in Imperial Russia, which I'm like, I'm not sure life in Imperial Russia was good unless you were like in the royalty.
You know what? I think it is actually very important because it's kind of what we've been talking about.
Interesting.
Because the lyrics are, let's live in the land of yesterday, Russia.
Yeah.
Let's put on the fancy clothes and let's while our woes away in Russia, land of yesterday.
Yeah. So basically, the vibe that you get from Land of Yesterday is that they've recreated Imperial Russia and a little bit of Paris. Another thing I want to say,
I feel like you do need Land of Yesterday. This is the problem.
Scrap Countess and the common man. You could probably just tack on a bit to Land of Yesterday.
However, I think it is a nice song. I haven't listened to it in like a year.
Cut to 5 minutes ago when you were going. Not listened to it in about a year.
I have not listened to it in like a year, but I'm sure it's a lovely song.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with very talented songwriters.
They are amazing songwriters.
I said this right before we started recording, I think. The plot of Anastasia is very basic.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, you can tell it was originally a kid's film.
Yeah.
You can very much... It's a very, very basic plot.
Yeah. Which
is why having as... Like, if the plot was complex, having as many songs as they do would be fine. It would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because the entire original movie was done in 6 songs.
Yeah.
And now this one has like 20.
Yeah. The recording has 25 songs actually.
So they've like tripled the amount of songs.
When I saw
to get the same point of...
Yeah.
And then they also cut a song from the original list.
Yeah. So so it's 5 songs that have been from the movie and 20 originals.
Like, there are 5 songs in there that are crucial to the plot.
Yeah. You cannot
and 20 songs that we can't remove because we like them too much. It's very impressive, but it's also insane. It's
also like mad. Yeah, I get exactly what you mean. One thing I would like to say, moving away from the songs, is the costume design.
The set design, the lighting in Once Upon a December. Oh my god.
The projections, the little train.
Yeah, Lord.
I mean, it's epic. It's grand.
They're incredible. It's one of those things. I would never in my life say that Anastasia is my favorite musical.
No.
Like, I can think of 20 musicals that I would call my favorite over Anastasia. But I love every single aspect of Anastasia. And a lot of my favorite musicals, I hate parts of. Like Phantom, I will talk with praise about bits of Phantom I hate. But I would still probably call it my favorite musical. Anastasia, there's maybe like two things I can critique it on.
No, the thing with Anastasia is it's just done very well. it is musical theatre
Yeah.
done to the highest level, and it's not doing anything revolutionary. Like, we have looked at, for especially the last 2 weeks, with Come From Away and Great Comet, which were doing something revolutionary in some way or another.
Anastasia is like the most cliche kind of musical.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really good at it.
Yeah, it's and it feels not original because it is so obviously based on something. It feels
I actually
fresh.
I really enjoy that we're doing weeks where my entire input into the episode can be me saying, I really love this musical. I love this musical. This is a
Uh-huh.
really good musical.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically all I've said for like the past 3 episodes. And then occasionally being like, Phantom. And that's kind of been it.
Here's a fun fact
And it's
about
gonna keep
Phantom.
going on. The list of musicals we're doing up till Christmas,
We've got one
I
more
will just
until
keep.
we've actually got one more until Christmas.
Oh my god! Wait, can I say what it is? Because
It's also by Lynn
I think
Ahrens.
I'm gonna fucking love it. I already know some of the songs. We're watching A Christmas Carol, the
We are.
musical.
We've not watched it yet, but we're
It's
watching it this week.
it's on YouTube. If anyone wants to watch it,
I'll probably link it.
it's a 2004
Yeah,
Christmas Carol the musical. I
I'm
believe Alan
excited.
Menken, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not
Alan
in it, but
Menken
wrote some of it.
wrote the music, and then Lynn Ahrens did the lyrics.
I'm gonna fucking love it. I
I'm
also
so
just love A
excited.
Christmas Carol.
I love Christmas. I'm in the Christmas spirit this week, guys.
Me too.
Christmas
As of
has
recording,
started.
27 days.
Yeah, now has a countdown going.
I do. I have a nutcracker that has a countdown on it. I bought it from Aldi.
But no,
When this releases, how long would it be?
it'll be
1, 2,
20 days
3,
because this is
4, 5.
going out on the 4th.
Okay, so 21 days.
Oh yeah, 21 days. Sorry, I was counting Christmas Eve. Yeah, this is how do we again, the Christmas vibes for this show is basically just they have a song called Once Upon a
Russia
December.
and cold.
Same as last week's.
Russia and cold, and then a song called December.
There's more of
But
a
I
link
feel
this
like
week.
I'm specifically going to go and listen to it because it is Christmassy to me.
Yeah. Also, it's just a good time and it's like not depressing because
Yeah.
like a lot of musicals are really actually quite depressing.
I mean, when you were saying earlier the other musicals they've written,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, Ragtime is quite depressing. I love Ragtime actually. I've even read the book that it's based on.
Ragtime's great.
It's not very good. The book,
but it's pretty sad.
shit. No, it's really quite sad actually. Ragtime. I want to do a revival of it. Do a revival of
Like
Ragtime.
Once on This Island.
I don't think Once on This Island is happy.
I don't think it's sad. I think it's just quite deep.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
You know?
Yeah. It's just kind of like deep in it.
I fucking love Anastasia.
Love Anastasia. Again, shout out for the costumes. I was looking at photos of them when I was putting this together, and
like undoubtedly there are going to be criticisms of it. Like you saw in some of the reviews earlier that there were criticisms, and I think a lot of them are justified.
except for that person who was just like, "Yeah, I had an existential crisis at it. Didn't give me the warm and fuzzies."
But I think even that is kind of like I wouldn't necessarily use justified, but I guess it kind of is.
Yeah, no, I don't.
You know, it's like it's a very different musical to what the animated film is.
I get what they were trying to say with that.
And they never said it was bad.
Yeah.
Like they were like everyone else enjoyed it. It was a good musical.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very safe musical.
No, I get what it is a very safe musical. It's a very marketable musical because one memory I have with Anastasia is going to a mall in New Jersey, and like you know how sometimes in the middle of like shopping centers and stuff they just have like those massive like they have like those like I know like billboard. They're basically billboards almost, but they're like freestanding in the middle of the shopping center.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I went to the mall in New Jersey, all of them just had Anastasia posters on them. I kid you not.
I also think the Anastasia poster is
everywhere I looked. I love the poster. I love how like she's turning away from. She's got like her back to the camera. So as we said, there were some changes made, and I've got some quotes about why they were made from like Lynn Ahrens and like Terrence McNally and Stephen Flaherty, which I thought might be interesting.
like every single song was changed.
I
Not every single song,
literally
every single plot point. No.
changes that were made to the show, everything.
Yeah.
But they talk more specifically about the reasoning for moving Journey to the Past, with saying, within its new placement in the musical, Journey to the Past became more of an I want song, because the whole first act is about her desperation to find out who she is, and in this moment she's like, now I'm on the brink, now it's beginning, what I've wanted is coming true, and I'm almost there. It changed the function a little bit from the movie to the stage show. We felt really excited about the new placement of the song on Broadway, because we felt like it was a moment that needed to be earned. In the film, Anya sings the song right out the gate, which, like, if you make people wait for Journey to the Past, is going to make it even more exciting when it happens.
Can I analyze something for a second?
Go ahead.
Well, just want to let you know, new release from Laura Osnes.
Oh, for fuck's sake, what's she done? Is it her second part about cancel culture and how America hates Christians?
No, it's my favorite things.
Oh, that's like normal Laura Osnes behavior. It's like old Laura.
Yeah.
It's like 2019 Laura behavior.
You're gonna have to bear with me in this bit.
Yeah.
But as like themes, Journey to the Past and Once Upon a December are both about the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally in the name, you can tell that.
Yeah. And so a lot of their like motifs and the lyrics specifically from Once Upon a December are used a lot throughout the show. Like right at the end, they sing a little bit of Once Upon a December again. Every time they sing it, it seems dreamlike, as if they're remembering the past.
Yeah.
When they open, I might be wrong about this, but
it's the music box.
Plays Once Upon a...
Yeah, that's where the initial tune comes from.
But as the show goes on, Anya sings those songs less and less.
Yeah.
When other people are singing Once Upon a December, she is not.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for her character. And I feel like that's why I like the placement of Journey to the Past better in the musical.
Yeah,
because like they're saying, when it's right at the beginning, it's like the first song she sings.
Yeah.
But it is very dramatic, and it makes sense in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, but the lyrics are also a little weird for what she's doing, because she's just going into town.
Yeah. One step at a time, one hope, then another. Off I go to St. Petersburg.
Because I had first for a second I was like, does she know she's going to the audition? No, she just. But in the musical, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because.
But even then, if you take Once Upon a December as an ensemble song, and it's across the whole musical, but Journey to the Past is Anya's song. It's still about moving forward.
Yeah.
Because it's all like, who knows where this road may go.
Yeah.
Moving forward, like the specific line is back to who I was, on to find my future.
Yes.
Things my heart still needs to know. She needs to find out who she was so she can move on.
And that's what she does.
And that's Anya's character. But apart from maybe like Dimitri and Gleb, every other character just wants to stay in the past.
That's what Land of Yesterday is about. Actually, guys, we've cracked the code. Don't cut anything.
We've done it. Land of Yesterday, Once Upon a December, all of the Grand Duchess's songs. Grand Duchess. What is her title? Dowager?
So there's a
Grand Duchess is Anastasia.
Grand Duchess is Anastasia. Emperor Dowager is, and then there's
Dowager Empress. Dowager Empress.
Dowager Empress, and then there's the Countess.
Yeah, the Dowager Empress.
We didn't study Imperial Russia, so don't ask us about them.
I think, actually thinking about it, I think they all kind of move on.
Yeah.
Like specifically the finale. They're all like, we want to live in the past, we want to stay in this happy place. And then Anya turns up.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want to move on. I want to, be happy and live my life. And I don't want to be tied down to being
I want to bury the Princess Anastasia. Yeah.
And I think that the way they do it in the musical, of being like, Anastasia doesn't exist. She died with her family. Ignore this girl Anya who's just turned up and is now friends with the Emperor Dowager.
Ignore this
woman Dowager Empress. Oh my god!
Don't ask her questions about her childhood.
Don't worry about it. But they all kind of move on. Like, I do think it's a little bit. I don't actually remember the staging for the finale, but from the soundtrack, it does heavily sound like the Dowager Empress and Gleb are like speaking together.
I think they're on like opposite sides of the stage.
It might be. I have a memory of it being two separate like press conferences, but the way it's done in the recording makes it sound like it's one.
No, I think it is
like,
two separate.
why is she friends with Sophia?
Why? Oh god. Are you is that your analysis over? Because it's very good. Hold on.
Thank you. I just think they said this right at the beginning, and we've kind of skirted around saying it explicitly again. But the musical is about hope.
It is.
Like, people want to believe that Anastasia was alive and she survived and she had a normal life outside of being that. And the musical does exactly that. But it also gives you, the audience, and the characters within the canon of the musical, the closure that Anastasia was alive.
Yeah, because I think people would like to believe that someone wasn't brutally murdered in the way that she was. Also, it's a good like story.
She
anyway,
was, though. To be clear,
Anastasia
did
die. The real life Princess Anastasia was killed by the Soviets.
But people like to have hope like that. It's the same kind of thing that like. And I don't want to be the one to compare Come From Away and Anastasia.
Well, yeah, I knew you were about to go there.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. It's like we like stories of hope against adversity. Let's say
yeah. And a lot of time that hope is kind of like clinging onto the past. Like it's like Bandstand.
Comparing it to all the 2017 musicals today.
I love Bandstand too. I can't wait to talk about Bandstand at some point.
Yeah.
But all of them are like, the initial thought of hope is the hope that it will go back. I'm supposed to mention Bandstand because I'm going to use the phrase just like it was before. Which is specifically from Bandstand.
And that's
in my memory. It's an actual phrase.
Yeah. That kind of is what comes across in Rumor in St. Petersburg, because it's actually like Leningrad. St. Petersburg doesn't exist at that point.
But it's this idea, they all kind of start, like Land of Yesterday, they all kind of start with this idea they'll go back to the way it was before and everything will be fine. And then by the end, they realise things have changed and they move on. They don't lose hope at any point. They kind of do in Bandstand. In most other things, they don't lose hope.
Yeah.
That there is, even if individual characters do, overall there is a feeling that things will get better, whether that's because they're reverting back or because they change.
Yeah.
I think that's important, especially when you're doing it in a kids musical, because Bandstand and like Come From Away are pretty mature musicals.
They have higher like demographics.
Yeah. Like you could take a kid to see either of them. They wouldn't get it.
They probably wouldn't understand like the deeper meaning of it, whereas with Anastasia they probably would understand it a little bit more. So the biggest challenge, according to Lynn Ahrens, was 20th century Fox.
20th century flop? Come on, man.
20th century Fox, because the companies move slowly, one by one, becoming interested in taking their films and making them into stage musicals. I think that Fox slowly came to realize that they had great movies that might translate well to the stage. We got people on board, Kevin McComb, who is now working at Fox developing some of their movies. I think that coming together for a movie company and a theatre company have been wanting to do it. Yeah, they had to like go and present this to Fox and be like, hey, so you know your movie Anastasia, we've rewritten it and we're gonna use its name and some of the songs and put it on the stage.
Didn't they already write it?
No, they'd written it. They'd written like the new stuff for the musical, and then they had to go present it to Fox and be like,
but didn't they also write the old?
Yeah. That's how they got the rights to
like,
do
hey,
it.
we've rewritten some of our work.
Yeah. But you own the rights, so we've got to ask you. There's a new structure. We were really excited about it. We had to present it to 20th Century Fox. They could have said yes or no, and we just felt very excited in a way to go. Luckily, they agreed. We made a conscious need to tell the story a different way that was more respectful or more based in real history, as we've said.
He's gone and the bat is gone.
He's gone. Talking about Rasputin, zombie Rasputin. Then Aaron said he's gone, the bat is gone. They were going to be our cabaret act though. So I think before it was the ballet, it was a cabaret act. We were going to bring them back and have a little homage here or there. Basically, there's a new character that represents a communist regime, more contemporary figure. He's in post-revolutionary Russia. He's a Chekist, as they called them. The score's really interesting. For example, there's an opening number in the movie called Rumor in St. Petersburg. We kept that, but it's completely rewritten and opened up. Yeah, I listened to the old version of Rumor in St. Petersburg. This one has like one of the musical has a lot more historical like fact.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's a lot more historically accurate. It's a lot more fun for people like you and me, who for 5 years have had to deal with historical accuracy.
I do kind of have to shut my brain off a little bit when I listen to it. I would not think too much about the history of it.
I think it's fun when you really think about the history of it.
We did once really think about it.
Okay. Only if you listen to it, not in a way of trying to like disprove it and be like, this bit's wrong, and this bit's wrong. But in a way of, if this has to be correct,
yeah,
how does it fit in?
Yeah.
Which is what we did. We were like, when specifically does Anastasia take it? I think our teacher was like, actually came up to us like, girls, you know Anastasia isn't a real story. Like, it's a movie. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. However, it does take place in 1927. It happens.
Like, and then we were like, here's how. And she was like, okay, at least you've like used your knowledge from the course to
like if it has to exist, how does it happen?
I was like, yeah, the 5-year plan hadn't been launched, so there wasn't a great famine yet, but they were still recovering.
You know, yeah.
They're probably doing better there than in the cities than in the
They
countryside.
hadn't entirely closed the borders, so there was still a chance to escape.
Because Stalin hadn't got his full control yet, and he hadn't launched the Great Terror.
Yeah.
See,
obviously the famous General Gleb was there.
But Gleb was like into the revolution. It's more theatrical song as now as opposed to a fun song in an animated movie. And Journey to the Past, one of the most famous songs, and the song that got Oscar nominated, has been moved to a different place in the score. I think it's gonna be more effective and like new stuff. Stephen Flaherty said that's where the real excitement was, going back in and seeing the things you loved, but also thinking, how will this function on stage? How can we make this? The character of Anya and the trajectory in the stage version is huge. And with the exception, I think, two scenes, she is on stage all the time. I mean, it's like the Olympics.
The quick change before, like, at the ballet. Not at the ballet, that's from a fucking company.
No, it's not from company. No, it's from the chorus line.
Chorus line, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Beautiful song. But before the ballet bit,
yeah,
they changed her from a beautiful dress into an even more beautiful dress.
Oh, the blue dress. I'm obsessed with.
I'm gonna go watch that clip right now.
Anya, of course, is a character who was meant to go from the old world of the Tsar and so on, and is born into a new world to discover herself in that new world. She's a lost character that's going to find out who she is and what she really wants in the world. What's more realistic to the history, and I think is a wonderful thing to have come into the show. Terrence McNally was a lot more blunt about the historical inaccuracies of the original show, of the movie. He just said, Rasputin died before the Russian Revolution. So it bothered me so much historically that he was left in.
Rasputin and his batch.
Yeah, the film got around this pesky anchorism by having Rasputin rise from the dead to hunt down Anastasia, but that wasn't going to fly with McNally, and Ahrens and Flaherty were only too happy to welcome McNally's new antagonist, Gleb, the Czechist police officer torn from the ideals of the revolution and his attraction to Anya. So
I still do find the attraction being his like turning point a little weird.
Yeah, not like the whole
great character.
Yeah, Terrence McNally, like, I think he is the reason we have Gleb.
I would never watch a bootleg. However, one may have accidentally started playing.
Mysteriously, as we were talking about this.
Seriously, the set is beautiful. The music is beautiful.
It's just amazing. Like, I don't know what else to say at this point.
The lighting in this bit, how you can tell it's like getting dark.
Yeah. Anywho,
oh my God, how they do the theatre. Phantom could never.
Oh my God, how?
Theatre set than Phantom, and Phantom is set in a theatre.
Yeah, it does. The theatre is really genius. I'm obsessed with it because they just have the
It's a
boxes.
massive stage.
Yeah, it is. Like they just have the boxes on the side of the stage. I could not find any information about like the financials of the show, which was like interesting. But I guess it's not normal for us to know exactly how much like of a recoup it had at Great
Yeah,
Comet. So for the last
essentially.
time until February 2024, time to talk about the 2017 Tony Awards briefly.
Oh, dear Lord.
This time it's going to be quick. It's going to be so quick. It would get nominated for 2 Tony Awards, being Best
Should
Performance
have
in a
won both. It should have at least won both.
Best Performance by a Featured Actress in a Musical for Mary Beth Peil, and Best Costume Design for Linda Cho. I like costumes are amazing. I do find it interesting that
Okay,
yeah, what were you gonna say?
I agree with both nominations. However, there should have been more. It's Anastasia.
What would you've given it? Knowing so intimately like what was nominated for what in 2017?
Right, hold on. I'm going on the Wikipedia page and I'm gonna see. Um,
I could probably name you some of them just off the top of my head because I spent so much time thinking about it in the past 3 weeks, 4
so
weeks.
first of all, I think objectively, Dear Evan Hansen should not have won Best Musical,
No.
and Anastasia definitely should have been nominated.
Interesting.
I'm not gonna say if it should have won because I think Come From Away, Groundhog Day, and Great Comet, and then I would add Anastasia, are all very strong contenders.
Yeah. I wonder whether or not it would have been better if it stayed off a season, but then it wouldn't have had to compete with Frozen, and so I was like, nah, just come in when it should have. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
I do feel like they should have at least got a nomination for the leading actress.
That's what I was thinking, and then I remembered how stacked it was that year.
But like Bette Midler, Danae Benton, Christine Ebersole, Patti LuPone, and
Yeah,
Eva Noblezada.
yeah, you can't not give them all Tony noms for
It
what
would
they
have
were
been wrong.
doing that season.
I do also think that objectively Ben Platt should no Platt, of course. However,
Us?
he should not have won Best Performance by a leading actor in a musical
You think it should have gone to our
for
man
Evan
Andy?
Hansen. Well, okay, again, he's up against Christian Borle, Josh
Yeah,
Groban, Andy
yeah,
Carl, and then
yeah,
David Hyde Pierce.
yeah.
I feel like I would say Derek Clement should have gotten a nom.
I would have probably put him in featured over Mike Feist.
That's true. No disrespect to Mike Price at all.
Our
Love
friend who we saw on a street corner in Camden.
love Mike Price.
Love Mike Feist.
It's okay.
If you guys don't know
The
that
strongest one
story,
for me.
we saw him on a bike corner in Camden.
Yeah. Biggest one for me, and this is going to be a bold statement.
Okay.
Patti LuPone should not have won Best Original Score.
Right, okay.
Anastasia should have. Even knowing what it was up against, I feel like the score of Anastasia is so incredible that I would give it the 2017 Tony for Best Score.
Believe you just said that.
Which is a bold statement.
That's the boldest hot take.
Okay.
Everyone's like hot take, and I'm like, no, Nell's just actually said the hottest take ever.
Yeah. And I'm gonna talk you through this.
Okay,
Immediately we're getting out Dear Evan Hansen because it's not the best original score by any means.
Yeah.
Now, Groundhog Day. I fucking love Groundhog Day. I cannot wait to talk about it in the end of year review. I love it so much. I think it's incredible. The score is nothing special. It's a great score. The songs are great.
I mean, Tim Minchin's best is always Matilda.
Yeah. But it's the kind of thing, and this is insulting for me to even say, and I admit that. It sounds similar to Dear Evan Hansen in that it's just kind of poppy music.
Yeah.
I think Groundhog Day has a certain, class to it that Dear Evan Hansen lacks. But ultimately, they're just the same style, and that's not a bad style. Like, I'm not even saying the Dear Evan Hansen score is bad. I think the Dear Evan Hansen score is pretty good. It's a fine score.
Yeah, I hate it.
I hate it, but I hate it more because it's Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
The score is fine.
Yeah.
Now, Come From Away.
Mm-hmm.
I think is great, and I love it, and I think the music is incredible.
Yeah.
It's quite simplistic, and I think that works really well for Come From Away. There's nothing that grand about it. Like, it's not got a massive orchestra.
Yeah.
It's not like a very traditional music. It's like, I think that works great for what it is. It really tells a story. It does it perfectly. And in that
Yeah.
sense, I do think it deserved a nomination for best score because
Yeah.
the score works perfectly with what the plot is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that makes it the best original score.
Interesting.
It's a strong contender.
Interesting.
Great comment.
Now.
This is where it gets tough.
Yeah.
Because okay. For me personally, I think if I could decide personally, it would have been closer between Come From Away and Anastasia.
Okay, yeah.
But that's purely because I like those two more.
That's not objectively, it's just...
That's not objective at all. And I think Great Comet has an incredible score.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about it a lot last week. It's beautiful. It works so well.
Uh-huh.
But it's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot is happening. At times, it feels... And I know last week I was praising Great Comet to hell and back.
Yeah.
I love Great Comet, and I will continue to praise it. But I think the Anastasia score is more cohesive.
Uh-huh.
Like, we were just talking about the themes. The amount of times you'll hear Once Upon a December, and then you'll hear it less and less as they come to terms with change.
Yeah.
You know, how all of the songs interact.
Mm.
They all sound... Cohesive is the best word I can come up with. And I'm going to make it clear right now. From an objective standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
Anastasia should not win.
Yeah.
Like, for every single musical, I can make a better case than the one I've just made to defend Anastasia winning.
Yeah.
For every single other musical, I can say this is why it should win, and it would be a stronger case. But for me personally, Anastasia should have won best
This
score.
is in the world in which you're Queen of the Tony Awards.
Now, here's another tough one. Scenic design.
Great Comet all the way. No one else had a Cold
I do
War
think
bunker.
Great Comet
No one else
definitely
had a Cold
deserved
War
that
bunker.
win.
I'm sorry. No one else.
But
Okay, if
Anastasia...
Anastasia had actually built a Cold War bunker, then sure, give it to them. They both could have done it.
They could have. I think that Anastasia deserved a nomination at the very
I
least.
did. I think that trailer's sick.
Costume design, I'm so glad they got their nomination. What the hell was Hello Dolly doing that was better?
I think they just needed to give Hello Dolly something to like. Fine, costume.
I'm gonna go. Hello Dolly won featured actor.
Yeah.
It won leading actress.
Yep.
And it won best revival. It won best revival.
Hello Dolly was a bigger deal than we realized.
I don't care. Give Anastasia costume.
I agree. The costumes are amazing.
Lighting of the musical. All right, get Dear Evan Hansen out of there. What did they light up? Screens.
It's a lot of lighting.
Give Anastasia a nomination. Direction. Come From Away deserved that win 110%.
Yeah, Come From Away, Great Comet, or like, fine. Give it to Michael Greif because he does deserve a win because he has done some amazing pieces of theatre, but not Darren Hudson.
Yeah, but give it to someone he deserves it for.
Yeah, go back in time and give it to him for next to normal, please. Anyway.
Choreography, I still don't believe that Bandstand won. But there it is. I guess my question for this is, what are they including in choreography?
I don't think it deserves choreography.
Because here's my question. In some senses, I can see staging being classed as choreography, in which case Bandstand does that very well. But so does Come From Away. And so I understand that. And then I understand that for like Bandstand. And then I understand that for like Come From Away, because Come From Away is not dance heavy, but it's choreograph heavy, you know?
Like all the moving of the chairs, all of the movement of everything else.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't understand what their like criteria is.
Yeah.
Because if it was just dancing,
yeah,
put Anastasia up there. I'm not saying it deserved to win. Give Bandstand that singular win. This is the first time I've seen it mentioned.
He only got one nomination, I think.
I don't want it. I'm just gonna look at that. 2 nominations, 1 win. What the hell were they
What's the nomination for?
Hold on. I don't see it. Probably not best musical.
No.
No.
You know for a fact they weren't best musical.
Give Bandstand their singular win, sure. But put, like, I don't understand the criteria, so I can't say, like, put Anastasia on. But if it was just dance, I would say put Anastasia on there.
Yeah.
But I think Anastasia more so deserves a nomination for Best Direction.
Yeah.
But I still think Come From Away should win that. Best
Yeah.
orchestrations, Dear Evan Hansen.
Fine.
Oh man. Oh, they got it for Best Orchestrations.
Oh,
A
okay.
nomination for Best
Yeah, that
Orchestrations,
makes
but it
sense.
went to Dear Evan Hansen.
Gets old.
Now, keeping in mind, Dear Evan Hansen won, it shouldn't have.
Mm.
I've defended that Anastasia should win Best Original Score.
Mm.
So I will concede orchestrations to Great Comet.
Mm. I can't lie, the only one where I'm like, it's so sad that there weren't more slots is for Best Leading Actress for Christy Altamore.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was genuinely just because there just weren't enough slots.
I'm being very cynical towards Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
But Bette Midler.
Bette Midler needs her Tony. And you can't not nominate.
If you take her out, Patty LuPone is on there. You take out Patty LuPone. Danae Benton is on there. You take out Danae Benton. Even is on there. I love you, Christy. You were incredible. I love you so much. You were not getting that, Tony. It was not a chance.
Like 2017 was just such a stacked year in like the most fun way.
It was crazy. But yeah,
I haven't felt alive since it, really.
Really?
Anyway, are we ready to move
That's
on?
my hot takes on this on Anastasia's place in the 2017 Tonys.
And we will bid goodbye to the 2017 Tony Awards for a couple of months.
When we do Groundhog Day and Bandstand, I will revoke all of that. I was like, Anastasia deserved nothing.
It depends on the show.
Bottom of the barrel, Groundhog Day on top, and then we'll do Bandstand, and I'll say Groundhog Day deserved nothing. Bandstand on top.
But we are bidding goodbye to our good friend who's been so kind to us for over the last three weeks now.
Yeah.
2017 Tony Awards.
Bye bye. We'll be back in February. We'll be back in
February. We'll be back until the end of time talking about the shit show. There's so many parts.
Maybe one day we'll do Hello Dolly and then we can talk about it again.
Maybe we could find like the broadcast and react to it.
Oh, we absolutely should.
That could be funny, and we could turn it into like a drinking game. Sometimes, like when we talk about drinking, I'm like, I do feel the need to say that the drinking age is 18 in the UK.
Yeah.
So the cast album will be released on the 9th of June 2017. Then they would have a vinyl release in 2018 which featured a duet with Liz Calloway, which was sweet. It was like Christy Altamore and Liz Calloway singing. It was very sweet. Anastasia on social media, they didn't do anything revolutionary, but they had some clips of the cast recording the album, that with the most viewed one being A Crowd of Thousands, which has 5.7 million views.
I can picture it in my mind.
Exactly, I can picture it yeah, like the second I found it, I was like, oh my god, I remember the blue top Christy Altamore is wearing.
Yeah.
And then the next one would be the 20th anniversary performance of Journey to the Past, which I think was just Christy. Can you picture that as well?
Yes.
It's Christy Altamore still on stage, and they've got the projections behind her. Not the projections, the movie playing behind her, actually. And that would have 2 million views. And then the third one was Journey to the Past, which just performed normally, which has 1.4 million. That's a lot of views. Anyway.
It did very little, but what little it did well.
Exactly. Christy Altamore's Broadway.com vlog would be called Royal Misfits, and it would average around 155,000 views, with the highest viewing one being 436,000.
I love Broadway.com vlogs.
I heard a rumor. I heard some person on TikTok say that they're allegedly coming back.
With who?
I don't know.
We're bringing Laura Osnes back, and she's relaunching the Broadway.com vlogs.
No, just bring Christy Altamore back.
I can't wait until we do Bandstand so I can talk about the Laura Osnes Bandstand vlogs.
I prefer the Christy Altamore vlogs, if I'm going to be honest.
I think they are objectively better.
Yeah.
But the Laura Osnes ones are so near and dear to my heart.
Unfortunately.
Because I can't look at anything modern to do with Laura Osnes.
You can't look at her and her circus tent and cancel culture and Ben Shapiro's Bluey. Tony Simpson would join the show on the 29th of December and would extend his run for 6 weeks. He would initially do 8 weeks, and then he would extend it again through to the 14th of April 2018. I believe he joined the show. It was like a weird stunt cast, but I was reading an interview with him where he was like, yeah, I kind of wanted to do Broadway for a while, and I started auditioning for some stuff, and they were like, do you want to do Anastasia? And I was like, he was like, fair enough, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. I feel like he was in a lot of like Nickelodeon original movies.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So yeah, it would announce its last performance on the 5th of February 2019. After 2 years on Broadway, the last performance would be set for March 31st, 2019. And one thing I will say about Anastasia, it is actually quite impressive that it lasted as long as it did.
Yeah.
Because as we were talking about, something like Bandstand didn't last that long.
Very few shows seem to last that long when they opened in that time period.
You were either like a massive blockbuster hit that like everyone like loved, or you like closed within 8 months.
Yeah, and Anastasia was a weird in between.
Yeah, where it got mixed reviews, but it had a way of drawing people in.
Please bring it to London. I want to go see it.
I want to go see it. It would go on to have a national tour and international productions in the Netherlands, Japan, Finland, Austria, Brazil, Mexico, and Greece. There would be
London. Bring it to
no
London.
London. Bring it to the West End. I feel like they could put it in one of those big ass houses, the Dominion, for like a couple of months.
Here's the thing: I've obviously never watched a bootleg, and earlier you may have heard me say the one accidentally started playing, and when I happened to glance at that, the stage there is huge, and the set is massive.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Anastasia, you could only go bigger.
Yeah.
You couldn't scale down that set.
No, don't you dare.
Don't even, unless you're making it grander, don't touch
Grander, yeah. That's all you have to say on.
Yeah, bring it to London. I want to see it.
London now, please. And there would be amateur rights available for the show, with there being like a specific 90-minute version, 60-minute version for like small children. I see a lot of like high schools starting to perform it, which is fun.
It's so weird, I found that Anastasia was never like jumped upon by high school when it's kind of the perfect high school show. But
yeah,
for some reason, I have seen so many. I don't know if they're actually high school or just like local theatres, but so many of them doing Ride the Cyclone. But I feel as though Ride the Cyclone had a very high peak around this time last year.
Yeah, we were there.
We were there. We watched it.
We were there.
Quickly fell.
We were watching it and we were going, "Oh my god, this is so weird. We're so back."
This is the best quality film. I've never watched a bootleg. This was the best quality one I'd ever seen.
We had to show our friend. No, because we don't watch bootlegs, but we might have had to show our friend, allegedly, this didn't really happen, a normal quality bootleg.
We in-depth described, almost to the point of visualizing on a TV screen, a bootleg. So she could see what it may have been like.
What the trenches really were. Like the kids.
Yeah.
The kids today.
It was the Bonnie and Clyde bootleg. It was the Bonnie and Clyde bootleg.
The kids today don't know the trenches that we were in.
Yeah, all 2 pixels of the Bonnie and Clyde bootleg.
Do you remember that edit I sent you? That was a Bonnie and Clyde West End. And it was like, sorry for the bad quality. And I was like,
this is professional.
Anyway, we can get into the state of affairs of bootlegs, which we don't watch, by the way. A different time. No, watch the bootleg. Yeah, bring it to London.
We're going to talk about bootlegs in the end of year review.
Yeah. Yeah, I have some thoughts. Kids, if you're listening, please learn some bootleg etiquette.
Yeah. Anyways, love Anastasia. I stand by all of my 2017 Tonys.
Until the 5th of
Until we do another 2017 Tony show, and then I will change all of my opinions.
Yes. Until the next time we discuss, and now we'll be going, actually.
Love Groundhog Day.
No. Join us next week. Oh, one thing I will say about schools and Anastasia is I wonder if they'll start doing it more again, because Beauty and the Beast the rights have been pulled.
Yeah.
Because they're doing a revival. Who would have guessed it? They've literally been talking about this revival since 2019.
Oh, this is the one where they thought it was going to reopen a theatre, and then Dear England is apparently reopening.
Actually, reopening the Palace Theatre is just like a commonly held belief from a lot of people. It's not a rumor. It's just like everyone like being like, it's probably going to reopen the palace. We've heard otherwise.
We've heard that apparently Dear England is reopening the palace, which is insane.
It's a football play about Gareth Southgate.
It is crazy.
For all our American listeners, he is the football manager.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Anastasia.
Okay, Anastasia, great, Bridget to
Next
London.
week, A Christmas Carol, the
A
musical.
Christmas Carol, the musical by Alan Menken and Lynn Ahrens. Merry Christmas, guys. It's now December, so I'm gonna start signing off all of the episodes with
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Happy
Anyway,
holidays. Stay
happy
woke.
holidays. Yeah. Guys, yeah, stay woke.
Season's greetings.
Happy day. Yeah, guys, stay woke against the I don't know, fucking stay a part of the liberal hate brigade. Or whatever the hell the right are calling it nowadays. You know? Anyway. Bye-bye.